walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to
Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
All right, we're back. It's Thursday. We're here to finish the week off in style, BTV style.
It's Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday. Fuck you, Wednesday, you piece of shit.
Wow. Poor Wednesday.
But yeah, guys, we got a great episode for you this week. If you haven't already heard, we did the It review, where we did a spoiler-free and a spoiler review. Won't spoil anything on that. If you guys are interested in hearing what we think about that, we had some guests on, and we all got to see the movie.
Yeah.
And it's for everyone. So if you're not wanting it to be spoiled, you can go and check it out, and then we'll tell you, we'll give you a warning sound that says, hey, spoiler alert, because we're going to divulge a lot of our thoughts about it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a little mixture of two, but today we're going to be doing something special, something that probably hits the reality bone pretty hard these days, and that is nuclear war and apocalypse. So we're picking two movies that we're going to be talking about, one being a nuclear war movie and one being a apocalyptic sort of like end of the world scenario in a way by virus. So very similar in nature, but one's Miracle Mile from 1988 and the other one's from 2008. It's called Doomsday.
Doomsday.
So we both kind of like picked one that we wanted to talk about, and it just kind of like fit a little bit. So today, guys, we're going to be doing a special episode called A Doomsday on Miracle Mile. But anyway, how you been doing, Brittany?
I'm good.
Yeah? Anything cool or new?
Cool.
Anything special?
No.
You went on vacation. How was it?
Well, it wasn't really vacation, but I went camping in California with my fam bam.
Right.
Part
Which we
of
didn't
them.
mention in Monday's episode.
Whatever.
But yeah, you had a good time or what?
I did.
Yeah?
I had a lot of fun.
Is your mom still here?
My mom's she's in California where we were. So she always ditches us.
She's like, fuck yeah.
We get the short end of the stick of mom visit time.
Yeah,
but that's
peace
fine.
out, I'm out,
She'll be back.
motherfuckers.
She's going to be there for a couple weeks, and then she's going to come back with us for another, 2 weeks or so before she goes back to...
Oh.
Because she has to go back in November for her doctor's appointments and stuff, for her checkups and everything.
Oh, so she got a while.
She's got... Yeah, they gave her 3 months to, travel.
Oh.
Not to
I was
live.
like, Jesus
No,
Christ,
my ass
Brittany.
wouldn't be here. if my
You've
mom
heard it
only-
here first, folks.
Yeah.
No, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, I would not be here if my mom.
Yeah,
only had
I
3
would
months
have
to
been
live.
assuming. I'd be like, fuck the show.
I would quit my job.
Yeah.
I'd fucking move out of my apartment.
Yeah.
My husband and I would live with her somewhere.
Yeah, really.
Box. I don't give a shit.
I'm getting that age, Brittany.
But anyways, so yeah, my brother that lives out there, he lives in Livermore, California, and we went camping somewhere called Lincoln or whatever. It's 2 hours away from there. He has a boat and fucking 8 jet skis or some shit. So
Right.
I jet skied around for 1,000,000 hours, and I actually drove the boat, which was really cool.
That's pretty fun. I've done the jet skis.
It was hot.
Do you have the cool ones, the really powerful
He
ones?
just got 2 new ones, and I think they're Kawasaki's. I don't
the sit down
fucking
ones.
quote me. They're all sit down ones.
Well, there's the stand up
I
ones
hate
that
the
people do
stand-up
the
ones.
tricks on. And
Yeah,
shit.
well, I can't do tricks, but the fucking
Brittany
stand-
was doing
I
flips
was
and
doing
shit.
flips and shit. No, I thought I was cool when I caught air off of fucking waves and shit.
You're like, woo!
But then I get
You're
scared.
2 inches.
I go up and I'm all fuck.
Dude,
I get all
I
fucking
used
terrified.
to do
I launched
a
myself
quick
off.
U-turn.
Yeah, I did that and flew off it.
My girlfriend, one of my ex-girlfriends used to be a jet ski racer.
Neat.
And she was one of the bigger female jet ski racers in the West Coast. Mm-hmm. and she like won all these events and stuff like that, and she used to take me out, and she'd be like, hang on, and then she would turn the thing real quick, and I would just get thrown off, like
That's what happened to me.
skidding across the fucking top of the water like a fucking stone.
Yeah. I watched I guess he's my cousin. I don't know. I watched him like do this fucking crazy hard turn and shoot up all these waves and shit. And I was like, that's so cool. I can do that. Cause I was standing up on the thing going like fucking 90 miles an hour. And
Jesus.
it was like fucking awesome.
90 miles
I
an
don't
hour?
know. It was kilometers.
90 knots.
It was, I think it's kilometers or whatever. I don't know what that actually is in miles per hour, but it was like, I'm pretty sure my face would have melted off if it was 90 miles per hour.
Just the skull
But
when
I
she
did,
comes
like,
back.
90
At least she was
90
smiling.
Yeah, like 94 kilometers or whatever the fuck it was. I
That's
don't even
cool.
know if that's even right. But it was like 94 when I was sitting down on it, and then I got uncomfortable, and then I did 92 standing up on it, and then I got uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then it hit a really big wave, and it scared the shit out of me. But yeah, so I was like, I can do that fucking cool, like, turn or whatever. And like,
It's like a
I did
U-turn
it,
or some shit.
and I fucking flew like 8 feet. I just went, whoa! Landed hella far away from the fucking jet ski.
Getting back in, was that hard?
Not on the newer ones that they have. Like,
Yeah, because they balance real well.
the newer ones, they actually have like a grab bar that like pulls down that goes kind of like under the jet in the back.
Okay.
So like it folds back up when you're riding it, but like you can pull it down so you can put your knee or your foot on it to kind of lift yourself up into it, and it stays really stable. Because the other ones that they have are like older. They're really cool and they're really fast. Like they have like the Sea-Doo and like whatever the fuck the other ones are. But I guess the newer ones are actually the faster ones that you do tricks on. And I'm like, I just feel more comfortable on these big old mama fucking jet skis.
Sure,
And like
yeah.
those little ones, I can't even get
They're
on
like
them without
Harley
feeling like I'm going to knock
Davidsons.
it over. That's basically what they are. I have a picture. It's crazy. Like,
They're Harley
really cool.
Jannisons or some shit.
they were really fun. And his boat was really easy to drive. And that was intimidating as fuck at first. But I was like, that's
I can
cool.
imagine.
I'm going to drive a fucking boat. And I did it. And it was cool. Let's see. I made a little tiny frog appear out of a faucet. That was cool.
What?
Felt for super Harry Potter in that moment. It was pretty badass. Well, they had bathrooms like at this campsite. They were like a fucking hike to get to them. First day I tried to go to the bathroom up there. There was a wasp, like 3 wasps that were like hovering by the entrance, and they wouldn't let me come in. And like I'm terrified. I'm allergic to bees, first of all, so I'm pretty sure I'll fucking die if a wasp stings me. So I'm like, I go inside to try and go to the bathroom, and then like this wasp like flies at me, and I ran out screaming at least 10 times before I finally went to go pee.
Wow.
And then I'm like, my
Was
mom's
there like a
there.
trail of pee?
Pretty
back and
much.
forth?
My mom's there with me, and she's got a fucking yellow hat on. And I'm like, why aren't they going to you? Like, this is such bullshit. Like, I'm like, aren't they attracted to yellow? Which might be a myth. I don't know. But,
Right.
I mean, still. And they're not bugging her at all. And I'm like, you know what? They can smell fear. Like, of course they know I'm fucking terrified of them.
Smell
Like,
fear.
they know. And then after I finally went, I go to wash my hands. This is the next day. I go to the bathroom, and I go to wash my hands, and the sinks are disgusting anyway. But I turn the sink on, and this fucking tiny frog flies out of it and scares the fucking shit out of me. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, it's just a baby. Like, it's so cute.
Bra frog.
And then I'm like, I'm Harry Potter.
Motherfucker.
I'm a wizard. And I'm like, you're like running out of the bathroom screaming, I'm a wizard. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our
Flesh
and potatoes of
Doomsday on Miracle Mile.
All right, guys, we're back for the flesh and potatoes segment of Doomsday on Miracle Mile.
Doomsday on Miracle Mile.
Doomsday on Miracle Mile.
Yeah, people are going to be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like,
Why are they saying it
what is
so
this,
many
like some
times?
Christmas miracle show? Like with Doomsday?
No, because it's not a... It's
Santa Claus prevents nuclear war and kills Kim Jong-un and Trump at the same time. Santa, what have you done?
You're welcome,
Ho, ho, ho.
motherfucker.
Doesn't it sound like Miracle on 27th Street or whatever the fuck?
Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it is.
You
I
were
don't-
judging me
I
earlier.
don't live
for
there.
this.
I don't live there. Yeah, fuck you, Santa.
To be nice to Santa. He's just a
Didn't
cheery
he,
old
like-
fat man.
Didn't he like put a kid on like the bad list because they were chewing gum?
No, what fucking Santa are you talking about?
Or no, maybe he threw his gum on the ground. I don't remember what I'm talking about.
He probably like spit it in his mom's hair and then like
He
choked
like
her or
spit it in
something.
Santa's mouth.
That's fucking naughty list material right there. First of all, if some little bitch spit gum in my mouth, I'd drop kick him off my lap faster than you can say "fuck you."
You just grab him by the head and the back of the neck and flip him into the crowd.
Yes. I would throw him into the nearest fucking Christmas tree. Be like, "You're the star now, bitch."
Yeah.
Fuck you.
He's all impaled on some fucking
on
star.
a fucking elf's ear.
Ah, Christmas spirit is
No, he'd
fresh.
be impaled on Rudolph.
Dude, we had a couple of shots before we started this.
I'm like,
I'm
not
fucking
even buzzed.
I'm kind of blitz. I've had a weird day, so I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, but when you get into those weird bad moods and then you're just like, I'm free, I'm gonna be drunk, all of a sudden you get like out of control. It's like when you're like, fuck everything, in your back of your mind, I'm gonna have a good night tonight no matter what, then all of a sudden it's like you gotta prove it to yourself.
Yeah.
And like you've gone overboard like way too much. That's what happens to me.
And then you fucking like watched a donkey show in Tijuana and
Right, I was the donkey show
You
in
were the
Tijuana.
donkey show?
In Tia fucking Juana.
fucking Juana.
Anyway, so what are we gonna start this off with, Brittany?
I feel like we should start it off with Miracle Mile. 'Cause
Of
this is
course.
older.
Of course you would say that.
I think I started off last time actually.
It's fine.
Oh wait, no.
I planned for this.
Oh, I didn't.
I
Well, no, I'm
planned-
just trying to go in chronologically.
I know, I'm just giving you shit.
88, 2008.
So we'll start it off with Miracle Mile. 1988, this movie came out. The story is about a little town of Park La Brea in Los Angeles, better known as the Miracle Mile. When the musician Harry Washello meets Julie Peters in the museum, he immediately falls in love with her. They schedule a date late night in Miracle Mile. But the alarm clock fails, and Harry misses the date. And he arrives 3.5 hours late. You fucking piece of shit. Harry accidentally hears a mistaken phone call, and a man tells on the public telephone, like phone
Payphone.
booth, payphone booth.
Google it if you don't know.
Back
what
when they
payphone
used to
is.
use Bill and Ted booths. But he accidentally hears a mistaken phone call, and a man tells that the United States has just started nuclear war, sending missiles against Soviet Union, and in 2 hours, Los Angeles would be hit by an enemy-backed missiles. Harry seeks out Julie and frantically tries to find a helicopter pilot to leave Los Angeles. Meanwhile, the rumor is spread out and brings chaos to the city. But yeah, that's essentially the story. This is my pick for this grab bag sort of thing that we decided to do. Reason being is I think this is one of the best nuclear war movies ever. Like, there are other ones that are really dramatic and stupid. This one is highly entertaining and scary as fuck to me when I was a kid. It was written and directed by Stephen Dejournette, who actually directed the movie Cherry 2000, which I also really love, with Melanie Griffith. Really good movie. Then a few TV shows he did, like Lizzie McGuire and ER. Like, what? Like, whatever happened to this guy? I liked your movies. 2 out of 2. It's pretty fucking good.
I love ER.
The cast has Anthony Edwards, Sir Anthony Edwards. Revenge of the Nerds he was in. Top Gun as Goose.
Oh fuck, that's right.
Yeah, he's Goose.
Holy shit, I'm gonna go home and watch Top Gun.
Dude, I fucking love Anthony Edwards, though.
He's one of the fucking best doctors ever on ER.
Oh, yeah, probably.
That's how I know him. I loved ER. That was my mom's favorite show, and I watched it with her. I've seen every goddamn episode, and it was so sad when his character fucking died.
I always remember him and attribute him to Revenge of the Nerds first,
Yeah.
and then those other things. But Top Gun, for sure,
things.
like, because he's Goose. He was also in Pet Sematary 2, The Forgotten, and The Zodiac
Oh, yeah.
with Jake
The
Gyllenhaal.
movie is so boring.
It's a little bit of a disappointment.
So boring.
Mare Winningham, she was in American Horror Story, has 3 different roles, actually, 3 different characters. She was also in Under the Dome, which I watched. I think there was only 2 seasons, and then they were like, nobody likes this, let's just stop. And she was also in the movie Wyatt Earp and Turner and Hooch.
Oh.
Also, McKelty Williamson, he was in Streets of Fire, Hill Street Blues, The First Power, Heat, Con Air, and Species 2. He was Wilson in the movie. Also, Kurt Fuller, who is one of the more animated characters in the movie. He was known for Wayne's World. He was the, like, record exec fucking assistant that, like, finds platonic love to be, like, more powerful. He was in Ghostbusters 2 as the snively little bastard in Part 2, who puts him in jail again. He was in Red Heat, Eve of Destruction, which is a pretty cool 92 film, I think. He was also in The Fan and Scary Movie, the original. Then we have Denise Crosby, who was like the military sort of government official.
Think about the chick with the cell phone
The
permanently
blonde
attached to her
chick,
head?
yeah.
Yeah.
She was in Pet Sematary, the first one. She was also in Skin Deep. Star Trek The Next Generation, she was the lieutenant. And Dolly Dearest. So what are your thoughts about this movie?
I actually really liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was cool. Like, I don't know. You were really adamant about how much you liked this movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, hopefully it doesn't suck.
It's okay if you want to shit on my dreams.
No,
So
I
it's
didn't.
okay.
I don't want to shit on it. Actually, I actually liked it. I felt like it was kind of. I felt a little disjointed, like,
Right.
in the plot.
You
and
were
the
mentioning
story.
that when we briefly talked about it.
Yeah, and that, like, to me, I feel like there was kind of like a little bit of like subplots and sub stories and like little things here and there that I didn't feel like were necessary to it. And I don't know. Some of the things that they did, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, why? You're wasting so much time doing this. I'm not understanding.
Kidding.
It totally starts out as this like goofy romantic comedy at first, and I'm just like, oh no.
It is kind of, yeah.
I mean, ultimately,
It is ultimately a love.
ultimately it's a romantic comedy. It's
yeah,
just
like
a
the most
dark
fucked
romantic
up
comedy.
love.
Right.
Like the most fucked up.
So it kind of starts that way, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is kind of cute, and like how he stalks her around the museum and shit. I'm like,
Right.
that's kind of adorable. I like it.
Well, I
But
don't think he was stalking. They just got bumping into each other.
he's following her ass, like hardcore.
He was plotting his
Woolly
murder.
mammoths.
Yeah.
He was gonna show her his woolly mammoth. That's what he was gonna do. For the most part, I thought the idea of the story was really interesting, and
Right.
it was unique to anything else, especially like in that time frame. I feel like.
Okay.
And then now being able to go back to that and looking at it, thinking, "Holy shit, this is hitting really close to home nowadays." Like, that's kind of crazy,
Right.
But and it's not like it's not something that couldn't happen. This is absolutely something that can happen and
Right.
probably fucking will happen. But I thought for the most part they did a good job of trying to keep it as entertaining as possible, along with, so it wasn't just like a straight like doom-filled movie where you're kind of thinking like they're gonna get out of it alive in the end, and you're kind of hopeful for it, and like their love and whatever with each other, and the part with like the grandparents and shit, and but then it's so kind of sad and fucking fucked up, like all the people that get killed and all the innocent people that are getting killed for no reason, and
Right.
the fucking weird dude that follows him around from the taxi or whatever with the gun.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, why is this necessary? Like, why are we spending 10 minutes on a chase scene from like a random dude in a car, like chasing him down with a fucking gun? Like, who has the worst aim fucking ever?
Right.
But and how many fucking bullets is that gun supposed to hold? Because he shot off like 22 fucking rounds.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
And that was
a
a
6
tiny
it
ass
was like
little
a
gun.
5.
So I don't know. But anyway, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I actually would probably say for the most part I loved it. Like, I didn't hate any moment from start to finish of it. I watched a lot of worse movies.
And let me preface this by saying my opinion on this is, first of all, nuclear war isn't necessarily horror. It is probably more categorically aimed at like thriller.
Right.
Drama, thriller, whatever. But this horrified me as a child. And the tagline for this movie, I think, will help lead me into my opinion, I think. But it says, "You just found out that you have 24 hours to live. What are you going to do?" And it's like, well, he has less than 24 hours.
It's like 2.
Because this takes place in literally about an hour and a half. Like,
Which is like
of
the
time.
runtime of the movie.
yeah, it's like everything's in real time, which is cool to me, which I feel is super fitting in a way. Like, I know what they're trying to say. Like, the point that they're trying to get across is, what are you going to do? Like, what would you do in that situation? In the same respect that I would think about, hey, if I won the lottery, what would I do with all that money? What would be the first few things that I would do? Well, this is like the very opposite side of that spectrum, very negative side of the spectrum of like, holy fuck, I've got minutes to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I find that fascinating. I think watching the world slowly unravel out of control is probably one of the most amazing things to me. This is hands down one of the best nuclear war movies, and in my opinion, one of the better thrillers out there still to this day. It's not the best, but it's an up there. It's like an up top 25 in my opinion. From my personal, scared factor. Like I said, scared me as a kid. Like, I had nightmares about this fucking movie. I'd seen several other ones. There was another one where like people turned to dust, but they didn't show it like this. Like, this was just like intense to me. I sort of have like a weird morbid love for this film. Like, every time I watch it, it makes me want to watch like the destruction of the world movies or like disaster porn movies. But I had a moment where I was like looking for all these like nuclear movies that I could find, and there are a few, but not as gold as this, like, to me. The characters in the movie are very interesting to me, and they really stand out, as opposed to what you get these days, where it's pretty much just CGI, blah, 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 CGI. These characters like all popped to me. Even if they were poor actors or okay actors, I think everybody was an okay actor. There was only a very few fine moments that were like, oh, that's really bad. But the chaos in the movie and its buildup, I think, really satiate anyone's sick nuclear porn fantasies that they might have. And the music in this is really perfect for this movie, too. Like, I feel like it is the most fleshed out piece for this movie that they probably didn't deserve. But I'm so glad that Tangerine Dream joined the fucking ranks on this and decided to make the music for this, because it's fucking awesome. It's different, like, for its time even. Like, it's like you would not expect to see Tangerine Dream in this type of movie. You would see him in a fantasy movie or some sci-fi movie, maybe, but never a fucking nuclear holocaust movie. You know what I mean? I don't know. But that's my opinion. I fucking love this movie for that reason. I've seen a ton of different nuclear movies, and I feel like we probably need another nuclear movie, because I think that's on everybody's mind at this point right now.
Yeah, it is.
This movie is like, there's missiles everywhere. There's at least 4 missiles that land on the United States. So.
Well, they show the one that like zooms past that's heading for, what is he?
Tijuana.
Tijuana. And then the, like, kind of in the ending sequence or whatever, it's 3.
Which is weird because the
just, like,
timing's off about
it's, like,
that. You see one of the
2
missiles dive down.
Yeah, it's like 2 off and then like 1 in the center that's like coming straight down. I'm like, God damn, all right.
Right.
Like,
That's pretty scary.
that is fucking scary.
Like, what do you do? Like, I have a nuclear book out there, and we were kind of looking at it a little bit right before we recorded. But it was saying that like a 20 megaton fucking bomb would produce a cloud over 20 miles wide, which, if it's nuclear, what I would assume that would go a lot further than that. I think it's like 200 miles.
It's something crazy along those lines. I mean,
Well,
if
it's
you
like,
look at the statistics from like Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
right. And it's like in this movie, these people literally have like an hour and a half to figure out the rest of their lives, which is exhilarating to me, because it just makes me think of like every scenario. Like, what would I do? Like, what would you do, Brittany? Like, would you go to get Mouse? Like, how you would only have 30, you would spend 30 minutes just trying to get to Mouse.
Yeah, well, depending on what time of day it was or what day it was.
Be
Absolutely.
like, meet me here, we're going this way. But then the streets would be jam-packed and like all this crazy shit would be happening.
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously do whatever I could to get to my husband and my family.
Right. And but the cool thing about this movie to me is like how it spreads. Like, one guy gets a phone call. Like, this is the way the movie works, guys. This character that Anthony Edwards plays,
Harry
Washello, who is a trombone player. He goes to meet his girlfriend. He's late to the fucking date. He gets a phone call. Someone answers, or he picks up the ringing phone outside thinking that it might be her, because he tried calling her on that phone. And so he answers it, and it's some fucking guy spitting out fucking like Thor Arthur DD7, like they're gonna be dropping, we're gonna be busting our load in 50 minutes, and they're gonna drop down in fucking an hour and 10, and like shit's gonna go fucking wild. And it's like all of a sudden he's like, what, is this a joke? Like, what's going on? Like, I think you got the wrong number. And he was like, oh, it's not a prank, man, it's not a fucking prank. And then all of a sudden you hear the guy in the background. He's like, yeah, man, it's fucking talking about nuclear war. And it's like this random guy answers the phone. Like, if you heard that, like, how would you respond? Like, you would have to be a little paranoid, right?
Oh, for sure. I would be, like, asking a million questions just like he was. Like, are you fucking with me right now?
Right.
Like, who is this?
And then he's like, all of a sudden he stops talking to fucking Anthony Edwards. And he's all like, yes, sir. No, sir. No, I was just making sure that everything was up to stuff. I was just checking the circuitry and everything like that. And they were like, wait, no. And they shoot him. And then the most haunting thing is the guy goes, forget everything that you just heard.
Well, yeah, he like
and go back to sleep.
Yeah, he like picks up the phone and he's just like, does he ask who it is or no, or does he say?
Yeah, he does ask who it is. He's like, who are you? He's like, who am I?
Yeah. Is this a fucking joke? Are you playing a prank or whatever? And then
put Chip back on the phone.
And then it's like, forget everything you just heard and go back to bed.
Click.
And I'm like, ugh, like that made me super uncomfortable. I'm just like, ew, that motherfucker's trying to play it off like it's a dream.
Think about that.
What a dick.
Putting yourself in that situation, if you got a phone call like that. So then he goes back into the restaurant where he's hanging out, waiting on his girlfriend, where she works, but she left hours earlier because he's 3.5 hours late. So it's like 4 a.m, pretty much. And like he starts talking to everybody there and starts freaking out and panicking, and then everybody starts panicking. Happens to be some chick there who's like works for the government, and she kind of knows some of this lingo, and then tries to check on things, and then verifies that people are leaving for some reason. Like 4 out of 5 state officials are gone.
Government employees or whatever that she knows, and she's trying to get in touch with them, and 4 out of 5 are already like en route to wherever
south of the border.
Yeah,
like the further the like, what did she say, the furthest most part of the hemisphere. Which is like, oh shit.
Yeah, so like their plans to go to like Antarctica or whatever.
Right, yeah, like and then like all of a sudden like people start believing him, and then like people start panicking in just this restaurant, right? Like one guy's car, the main character that Anthony Edwards plays, gets his car stolen, then he hops on the back. He's trying to find this girl that he just met, and he thinks that like she's like, he's never met a girl like this before. Like this is the first girl that ever made sense to him. He said it was like he was 30 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, so he's like trying to convince the guy who's driving to drop him off there. He has to jump off the back of the car. He rolls into the road, breaks his glasses, bumps his head a bunch of times, and then another guy who's stealing car stereos happens to be driving up this on-ramp when he jumps off, and then Anthony Edwards has a gun that he stole from the diner guy who he jumped off the back of his truck, and then holds the guy hostage, and then all this shit starts spreading like wildfire. It's really crazy how it's almost like a virus, a mental virus, which is fascinating to me.
It's like a telephone game.
Right. It's like, oh, if you believe, if you don't believe, it's hysteria. It's like, it's virus hysteria. Mm-hmm. There is some pretty interesting tidbits on this movie. The punchline and the unfinished joke the loudmouth at the bar was telling, it's the mailman's last day on the job. He goes to a woman's house. She invites him in, makes love to him, makes him a wonderful breakfast, and then gives him $5. Is mailman. What was that for? Woman. Well, I asked the husband, what do you do on your last day? And he said, screw him. Give him $5. The breakfast was my idea. It's like a weird tidbit that I found in that in the information. This restaurant that Harry goes to, Harry played by Anthony Edwards. The name of the burger shop is called, that Julie works at, which is his girlfriend, his new girlfriend. It's called The Fat Boy, which is a nod to 2 atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, called Fat Man and Little Boy, which were 2 strikes right there, which is kind of interesting. You got to remember, this is an 88, guys, so we were more worried about the Soviet Union attacking because we had just broken off with the USSR and all this other bullshit. It was still scary around these times. I remember when I was a kid, like, we had to practice duck and cover under the seats because that was still relevant at that time.
We did too.
Which is scary to think about. And we are now rapidly approaching those times in some way, you know? Not to try to scare you guys. The original script for this was actually considered for The Twilight Zone, the movie, before Steven Spielberg was brought in on that project. And the film would have consisted of only this story instead of 4 segments it eventually became, and would have had a slightly different ending with a Twilight Zone twist. Steve DeJarnette did not like the change in the ending, and the idea was eventually just dropped, which is, I think, was better all around, because I think we got a movie out of it, and we also got a really cool kick-ass movie out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 movies instead of just one shitty one.
Yep.
Good trade-off.
I have a fun tidbit.
Go ahead.
So the original script for the movie actually had Walter Cronkite appearing on television at the end as himself.
Oh, that would have made it more real, huh?
I totally agree. Like, I'm kind of sad that didn't actually happen because it would have been pretty fantastic.
I think,
Like,
yeah, it makes you wonder if they would have made those small adjustments.
yeah, there's like a couple little, like, other different little things that I'm just like, okay, like, that would have been really cool. Like, why didn't that
And
happen?
that's the way the nuclear bomb crumbles.
So they actually did close Wilshire Boulevard for 2 full days
Oh, wow.
so they could film the climax of the film.
Oh, where the fucking, like, chaos is going on.
Yeah, so Steve, is it DeJarnette or DeJarnette?
DeJarnette?
DeJarnette
I think
had
so.
to shoot additional pieces for the climax at his own expense after the principal shooting for the movie had wrapped up.
That's fucking dedicated, dude.
Right? And didn't it take him like 8 fucking years to get this movie made?
Ah,
Like from idea to production
Probably.
to editing and wrap and then release?
some people get really obsessed about their ideas.
Yeah, which I understand. Oh, and fun.
But this,
super
actually,
side
this
note-
movie was only shot in 7 weeks, though.
Yeah, and mostly at night, right? Didn't they film most of it at night?
Majority of it, which
Yeah.
is good because it's cheaper.
Well, yeah, and it kind of makes sense. But I have one more little fun little note for you. Crispin Glover was actually the original person that
Of
auditioned for
Chip.
Chip.
Yeah,
For the voice
I
of
saw
Chip.
that.
And I thought that was so cool.
Hey, man.
But I'm not sure if it would have been.
Oh, Dad, is it you?
I'm not sure if like it would have been as widely recognized. Like
Oh, fuck, man.
his voice. then.
Like my brother.
I love Crispin Glover.
I love him too, but
He's fantastic.
I mean, that's just like how my
I
impersonation
feel like
of him.
he's a little too frantic-esque for that.
I think-
I don't know. He could have. I don't know. I think he would have been great, but I'm
It
not
probably
sure
would have been all right.
I don't know how many people would have actually been able to recognize that from him
Well, he wasn't.
then.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't like a gigantic actor. He's
Flash
never.
forward to like 5 years after that. And it
He's
would
never
have
been a
more.
gigantic actor. If you take out,
He's a huge.
if you take out, Back to the Future,
or what is it?
he was
Willard?
in Willard, but
Yeah.
those aren't like big movies.
Willard was pretty decent.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, as far as big mainstream movies, he's not that big of an actor.
No, he's more of a side character. Like has a small bit role, but is badass in every single one.
Right.
that he
He's
does.
just one of those actors that sticks out.
He's fucking fantastic. And in oh my god, and he's so cool in what the fuck is that show we just heard? American Gods. Huh, have you watched that yet?
Yeah. I
His
haven't finished it
character-
though, so I don't want
Oh.
to. Don't talk about it.
I won't, but it's well, you've seen him in it. But
Right.
He's credited from episode 1, even though I don't even think he's in episode 1. But his character's pretty tits.
Okay.
But that show, fucking get on it and finish it because it is so good.
By the way, do you know that
good.
Wilson character in the movie, who was like the guy that stole all the stereo? I got Nakashima. I got
Yeah.
fucking Pioneer. Like, take whatever you want. Like, he
Yeah.
always used that as his bartering coin, you know?
Uh-huh.
But he was actually supposed to be played by a white actor in earlier draft of this script. But I think his character is actually really cool.
I liked his character.
I liked his character a lot. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just some sort of human feel about him.
He was extremely relatable.
Yeah, he was kind of like the outside guy finding out stuff. And, like, you find out that Harry, the character Harry that Anthony Edwards plays, kind of, like, leaks this to people in different ways. Like, he tells one person it's a fucking meltdown for a fucking nuclear
He
plant.
works at the plant. and
Yeah.
has- yeah.
And then he tells one other guy it's like like some sort of fucking hellfire, like gas that's gonna melt people inside out or some shit like that, and it's blowing over this way.
However, he feels like he can get someone to believe him.
Right.
Is kind of what he
He's just
goes
trying to
with.
do whatever it takes to get to his girlfriend that he loves, because that's like the ultimate goal. Harry was also actually much older in the earlier draft of the script, and Harry was an alcoholic in another draft of the screenplay. So I guess they decided to change that. I think that was probably a good idea, because he's a little more relatable.
Yeah, I think it would have made it a little bit more of a convoluted storyline if they would have kept him as an alcoholic, because then it would have been more difficult for him to get people to believe him.
Right. Well, maybe that's why they wanted to do it, because then they were like, oh,
Yeah,
he's
like,
the drunk guy.
It can go both ways
Right.
very easily for that. As it can make this more complicated, or it can make the story go further into the direction they may have wanted it to go. I don't know.
Right.
But
Do you know that there's a tie-in to the Terminator franchise in this movie?
is it really?
Yeah. They actually had Jeanette Goldstein as Terminator 2 Judgment Day. She was a character in that, or she was an actor for that movie in 1991. Earl Bowen, the first 3 Terminator movies, and Brian Thompson, the Terminator, in 1984.
Jeez.
So they had 3 of those actors in there. Also, they also have 2 actors from the Star Trek franchise, Denise Crosby, who we mentioned, who's from the Star Trek TNG, The Next Generation, and Robert Decoy from Sons of Mog from 1996. The Earl Bowen guy, he was actually in 2 nuclear war movies. The first would be this one, and then the second would be Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. So, a lot of nuclear wars surrounding the cast here, I guess, is what
Yeah.
they're trying to say. By the way,
I
the movie
agree.
was made with like a $3.5 million budget, and it only made $1.5 million at the box
Wee.
office. So,
Damn.
yeah, it's pretty sad.
That is pretty sad.
It's a better movie than I think. just think it was a little different for people at that time. Nowadays, it's disaster porn, so everyone's like, oh, yes, put it in my mouth.
Put it in my butt.
Did you have any favorite scenes?
My favorite scene, actually, of everything that
Okay.
happened, I did like a lot of different parts, but my favorite scene is the entire scene after he takes the phone call from the payphone outside, and he comes into the diner, and he's like trying to play cool for a couple minutes,
Oh, he's like
and
ordering,
he's trying to like
eating
eat
his
his
food.
fries and his sandwich or whatever the fuck he ordered
The
from
gyro
her.
and
The
eggs.
gyro and eggs. That's
Yeah.
right. Thank you. He's
He
trying
called
to
it a
eat
gyro,
the gyro. Yeah, he's a gyro and eggs.
which bugged me for some reason.
Me too. But anyway, so he's trying to eat this, and then he just like slowly loses his shit and starts kind of like explaining it. And I love the quippy conversations that are back between him and the waitress.
Yeah,
or-
where he grabs her arm.
yeah, and with the coffee pot, and she's just like, and then the cook in the back is seeing.
He's like,
it, and
sorry,
he's
can
all
I have this?
scared.
And she's like, yes.
Yes.
Here you go.
I don't know. That whole scene was really, really cool and really well done. And I felt like, and you mentioned earlier how the characters all were really rich characters.
Yeah.
And I felt that too, because you only got a very small amount of time with each individual character, especially those, but you still feel like you knew them and you could relate to
That's
them.
what I'm saying. Like, that's
They
why
did
they're
a
really
good job.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
They were
fact.
so different, vastly different characters, but
Yeah.
they all like.
But they did a crazy good job of explaining exactly who they were and what type of personality they had in a split second.
And I
it
think
was
that's a
great.
good combo point that director Steven DeJarnot also wrote and directed. I think he did a good job writing the characters, and or the actors did a good job too. So it's like a
Portraying them.
50-50 thing.
Right.
Because that's a big scene. Like, if you think about how many actors are in that scene that actually have speaking roles and have to bounce off each other, that's a really powerful scene.
It is. It was really, really cool. And I loved how it was done. I don't know, like he works so hard to get everybody to believe him, and then finally, like, she kind of comes, like Landa's character, the one with the phone attached to her head,
Right.
kind of like comes around and understands where he's coming from. And
The briefcase and cell phone.
yeah, it was really, really cool, and it was a fun scene. And I loved the drag queen at the bar.
Right, yeah.
Like, the drag queen was great, and I'm trying to remember like what exactly it is that she said at one part, but it's like, excuse me, it's 4:00 in the fucking a.m. or whatever.
We've got a lot of actors in this town
Yeah.
that have nothing to do at 4 in the fucking morning.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm
so
more willing
good.
to believe that than anything. And then some people are like, yeah, that's a good point.
4:00 in the a.m.
Yeah.
Are you guys really believing this shit?
Did you
It's
catch
perfect.
the homeless guy in the beginning? He was like, not me, not Spongy. I was like, what?
Why?
He was in that movie a lot. He was on the truck when they tried to escape to get away, to get to the airport.
Oh, yeah, he's with them.
He was also in the very, very beginning when they go to the park in La Brea, where the two towers, where the grandparents both live in two separate towers, and he was like holding a dinosaur and going up to the bus and like trying to scare people. They were really the main point of Miracle Mile is that they wanted to make it be all about La Brea and what happened in La Brea Park, La Brea, which is just this Miracle Mile of like community.
Right.
And he was like a big part of that homeless community, I guess. So it was interesting. There's going to be a couple of spoilers here, guys, and I don't want to like ruin anything for you guys. So if you don't want to hear this, you may want to not tune out for a little bit and then come back when we talk about the other movie. There's a scene where Wilson is trying to take his dying sister up the escalator. They've both been shot, and he's like trying to climb up the escalator, and he's like,
Yeah.
ah! I don't know why that's such a dramatic moment, but I fucking cracked up just because he's like trying to get away, and then all of a sudden the escalator starts up, and he's like, fuck.
Go in the wrong
Yeah,
direction.
it's going the wrong way. It's coming down as he's trying to go up, and it's like it's clearly apparent that he's not going to make it up because he doesn't have the energy because he's been shot, and so is his girl or his sister. Yeah, it looks. I'm pretty sure it was.
What
his
was
sister.
her name? Like Charmander?
Something weird, yeah. Some Pokemon.
Some Pokemon.
He like pulled out an egg and she went into it before he died.
Yeah. Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. Another one that I really like is the big scene on what was it? You said Wilshire Boulevard.
The climax of the
Climax when everything's about to go fucking
When
ape
shit's
shit.
hitting the fan.
Yeah, like when people all of a sudden start realizing that there's like they must have leaked it on TV about a half hour before, which kind of makes me wonder, like, would the government just not tell us until the last minute? Because
Probably.
right, scary, right?
Yeah. I don't know why they wouldn't.
They would all be saving their own asses, and everybody would want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Harry he climbs up on top of a truck, and the whole fucking town is in chaos, and it's like gridlock fucking traffic. People are fighting in the streets, panicking, just
People are
screaming,
killing each other.
sirens. Like it's beautiful. Like it's apocalyptic beautiful. Like it's just dark and fucked up, and it's kind of like sent me into a panic shock.
Because that's exactly how it would be.
Well, it's like,
which is really sad.
well, it's almost like, okay, now it's become a reality.
Yeah, because people are gonna go. Oh, it's like the purge. Like I'm gonna die in an hour anyway, so I'm gonna kill whoever the fuck I want to and do whatever the fuck I want to at this time frame. Like all these people trying to grab on his girlfriend, like as she's just trying to walk down the street.
Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah,
Like, he
and,
gets
like,
all mad.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, and that's exactly how it would be. Like, people are trying to rape people or trying to fucking shoot. People are killing people.
Because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know.
Stealing shit. Like, they're, like, basically just in this frantic, like, panic because they don't know what the fuck they're going to do, but they're trying to, like, save their own asses and have their own agenda at the same time. And it's pure fucking chaos. And, like, if you have anxiety, that whole scene is just, like,
It's pretty intense.
anxiety-riddled fucking shenanigans.
Like, if you actually, like, pay attention to the movie and not just, like, topically watch it, like, it's a good thriller.
No, it was. I completely agree. And there was a lot of like little subtle fine details that I did enjoy about it because like you had mentioned where, would the government really do that? I kind of
Makes
feel
you
like
wonder.
they would, but then they totally touch on that a little bit of what you said of that everyone's going to be trying to cover their own asses and get the fuck out of there. They have
Right.
to force the girl onto the news station to talk about what's going on. Like
Right.
they show them like physically grabbing her and throwing her out in front of the camera and making her fucking talk about what they need to report.
They kill the news reporter in the video.
And the one
Remember they
reporter that's
the
out
guy
in the
shoots-
shit, like
yeah.
in Tijuana. What was it, Tijuana?
No,
or like
they-
wherever the fuck he's at. But the dude
On the-
behind him shoots, like kills him and the cameraman.
Right. It was on the TV when they were all watching it.
Yeah, but I think that the reporter that they panned
Yeah.
to was somewhere where shit was going down. It wasn't like, I don't think it was in that city. I think it
No,
was
it was somewhere else. Yeah. It's to let it know that it's now widespread.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably in like Mexico.
This is the like turning point moment of reality. Like, okay, this shit's real now. Like where there was a doubt in their mind and they didn't know what to do. They had to just kind of try to save each other. Mm-hmm. Did you have another favorite?
I like when the grandparents reunite.
That is sweet.
And then I would do exactly what they did. Like, I would go to my favorite fucking place that I'd spent the last 70 years or whatever with my partner, and I would get a fucking greasy ass fucking sandwich or whatever the fuck I wanted and just like sit there and hold them forever. Like, I'd probably die fucking mouse to death. Like, I'd just wait.
I would run into the blast, dude, because there's just no way. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to die of fucking radioactive
Like, I'm
poisoning.
like, would I take myself out first? Or, I don't know, I'd probably be like crazy dude at the top of the helicopter pad that's just doing all the drugs he can find.
Dude,
I'd
just being on the
that.
outskirts of it is like probably the worst way to die.
Well, if it doesn't kill you right away, it's just going to be long-acting effects like cancers and all kinds of shit that your body's going to go through after that.
Right.
Like, look at, like where anywhere an atomic bomb's been dropped, it's still a fucking, like, death zone.
Right.
You can't go there without picking up all these levels of radiation and shit and completely frying your body from the inside out. It is horrible.
It's a scary way to think about
And
dying, is
like,
that something is going to come to destroy the planet, almost like a meteor or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And it's just going to destroy everything around us.
It just disgusts me that weapons of mass destruction like this exist. I don't understand
that we
why.
built it.
Why?
Even though, like, if one was heading towards the planet, we'd all try to unite together to prevent it.
Right. I just don't understand what went through somebody's mind.
Well, the guy that made it, he even said, I made a mistake.
Right. You fucking did.
He was like, I think I just did something really bad.
Anybody that manufactures this kind of shit, why? Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you make something that's going to take out thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking innocent fucking people?
Well, millions.
Or millions or whatever. Like, why is that something that needs to exist?
Right.
At any point in time.
That's the reality. That's the horror of the situation in reality right now, is that we could be in that situation at some point because of all the crazy shit going on.
Be in that situation again.
What do you mean again?
Like, essentially again. Like,
with the USSR and all.
Well, with this
Russia.
whole nuclear war situation.
Yeah.
Like, we've been there already.
One of the things that I want to bring up real quick, because we got to jump into the other movie here. One of my favorite scenes, and I kind of want to reenact it because that's just how silly I am. Kurt Fuller plays the assistant to the blonde who's the military person. His character is like at the top of this tower waiting to take this helicopter off after Harry found like a new like helicopter pilot at a fucking gym.
Oh my god. That scene is hilarious. I'm sorry. That
pretty
scene
funny
is so
too.
fucking funny. I love
Kurt Fuller's character gets drunk and drugged the fuck out, and as they exit the fucking top of the elevator, you see him hunched over a dead guy that he's like either sodomizing or having sex with. No joke.
I missed that part.
Yeah, dude. Like, I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I've always seen it because I'm always like, what the fuck is he doing out there? And then he's like, ha 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 ha, and he's like running around. But I believe that he was having sex with with a corpse because he pulls up his pants shortly after, and there's a dead guy with his shirt off laying on the ground.
Huh.
So he's just like, fuck it. Like, I don't even care anymore. This whole scene, and he's like got a wine bottle in his hand. He's like, oh, this is Chateau whatever fucking from 28. He's like, I don't even have a fucking corkscrew. He busts it over the side of the building, slams like the broken bottle close to his face to drink it, and he was like, tastes like shit. And he throws it down, and then all of a sudden he leans against the wall, and he's like, holy cock-sucking mother of Christ, there's the first son of a bitch right now. And he's like pointing at the sky, and it's like the missiles coming, like one of the missiles, and it darts over them, over the building. He's like, see what I see? He's like, look at that baby go. He's like, it's going all the way to Tijuana. And it's like, this guy's like lost his mind. Like, he just doesn't even care anymore. He just doesn't know what he's going to do. So he just doesn't care. He's just like welcoming the death. And then later, as they like escape into another helicopter and all this other bullshit, he watches the blast with excitement. Like, he's so excited on top of this. He's got his shirt off, guys. Like, he's just like fucked up. And then he's like, his eyes start melting between his fingers and out through his fingers as he covers his face. And I just thought that scene right there was just so like, holy shit.
Yeah. I'd probably be that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'd fucking corpse, but I'd probably be fucking, I would do every drug and drink.
Fuck it, man, right?
Within hand, like arm's reach of me. That time.
Right?
And I'd probably let that I'd overdose on that
like,
shit.
fuck it.
But I would definitely get fucked up.
Right. I mean, I don't want to go too much further into this, but I think that if you guys are into sort of like disaster porn or sort of like you want to look for some sort of thriller, end of the world scenario, it is a little freaky for some people. It's a reality in some way, but I think this movie is like one of the best. Yeah, check this out if you guys like it. There is one more movie that we're going to talk about, and that is Brittany's movie that she picked called Doomsday.
All right, so our next movie that we did, which was my pick for this week, is a little film called Doomsday.
Say what?
Say what? Which came out in the year 2008. To give you just a quick idea of what this movie is about, if you haven't seen it, a lethal virus spreads throughout Scotland, infecting millions and killing hundreds of thousands. To contain the threat, acting authorities brutally quarantine the country as it succumbs to fear and chaos. The quarantine is successful. 3 decades later, the Reaper virus violently resurfaces in London. An elite group of specialists, including Eden Sinclair, is urgently dispatched into Scotland to retrieve a cure by any means necessary. Shut off from the rest of the world, the unit must battle through a landscape that has become a walking nightmare, or a waking nightmare. Walking, waking, tacos.
Walking, waking?
Waking,
Wake
walking.
walk?
Blah, blah. Anyway. So, this movie was directed by Neil Marshall, who is most widely known for the movie The Descent. Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers for me, man, all the way.
Yeah. He also did Westworld in 2016. He did from 2012 to 2014, he did Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he did some episodes.
And he also did some episodes for Hannibal in 2015.
Right.
He was also the writer for this film.
Yeah, he actually did.
He did.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a rare thing that you usually see directed and written by the same person.
Yeah, for that kind of money.
Usually, at least there's for that kind of money.
Yeah, right.
Just so you guys know, this movie has a $30 million estimated budget.
Pretty big.
Pretty big, and
for somebody to write and direct it.
And it only in the United States only grossed a little over 10 mil.
Yeah, which is sad.
Which is very sad.
And you know what I love?
Internationally, it did.
I love him. I think he's a good director. One in particular, I do love The Descent, but Dog Soldiers is one of my faves. Like, I love that movie. And he is actually part of the Splat Pack, which is a term that was coined by a film historian by the name of Alan Jones in Total Film Magazine for the modern wave of directors making brutally violent horror films, which, believe it or not, James Wan is part of that.
Really?
Yeah. The Splat Pack members are Alexander Aja, Darren Lynn Boozman, Greg McLean, Eli Roth, James Wan, Lee Wannell, and Rob Zombie, which all makes sense to me except for James Wan.
Yeah.
He's more of like the supernatural guy.
Right.
But he did do like Death Sentence and the first Saw. So that
Maybe
makes
that's
sense there.
what puts him there.
Right.
So this movie, I tried to keep the cast information a little bit short and sweet.
Sure.
For the most part, there's a lot of really cool characters in this movie and a lot of pretty well-known actors.
Sure.
But we're going to start off with the main actress, which was Rona Mitra, who plays Eden Sinclair, who is probably most widely known for her role in Underworld: Rise of the Lycans. She is Kate
it's like the
Beckinsale.
third one?
That's not actually Kate Beckinsale.
Right,
I
yeah.
believe that's number 3.
But everybody gets her confused.
They look so similar.
Yeah, they kinda
and
do,
They
yeah.
do, and I remember when I first saw the previews, trailers for this movie, for Rise of the Lycans, and I'm just like, that's not Kate That's Kate Beckinsale.
Right,
That's
yeah,
not
I know.
Kate Beckinsale. And I'm just like, whatever, she's fucking hot. She looks just like her. I don't even care. So they did a good job. But she's also in the number 23. In another movie called Skinwalkers. Also stars Bob Hoskins, who plays Bill Nelson, who, if you guys, he's Smee in Hook, which is fantastic. And he's also in Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Booyah, that's a big
which
one.
is, I love that movie.
Yeah.
He's so great in it.
That's where I first knew who he was.
Me too. And he was also in Tales from the Crypt.
And that movie with Jet Li.
And that movie with Jet Li.
Unleashed.
That's right.
Yeah.
It also starred Craig Conway, who played Saul, who was it was gorgeous in this movie. Anyways,
Are you being sarcastic?
no, he was gorgeous.
Oh, I thought you said he wasn't.
no, he is gorgeous
Oh.
in this movie. He's the big fucking blonde mohawk and the
Right,
biohazard tattoo on his back and that ripped body.
right.
Woo! Which He should have hair like that all the time because normally he's not that attractive of a person. But whatever.
He looks kind of too normal.
He does look really normal. But he's also in movies. He's in The Descent. He's in Prey, and he's also in Dog Soldiers.
Nice.
So there's a lot of recycled actors actually in this movie that were in other films that Neil Marshall's done.
British.
Yeah.
British, Irish.
Kind of stick together.
UK.
Yeah. It also
They
had
stick together. Is that what you said?
Together. What am I wrong?
It just sounds weird.
Whatever. Malcolm McDowell is also in this movie, and he plays Kane, who was a piece of shit.
Not gonna argue.
Yeah. Who we've talked about him multiple times already, but he's mostly well known for his role in A Clockwork Orange, and he's in the Rob Zombie version of Halloween.
Right.
And he's going to be in the upcoming American Satan movie.
Okay.
Which I am super stoked to see. But anyway, this also stars David O'Hara, who plays Canaris, and he's one of my favorite actors. He is in a lot of TV shows. He does a lot of TV acting, more so than movies. Same with the next actor I'm gonna talk about too. But
okay,
he's probably more well known for his work in The Departed, the movie Wanted, and Braveheart.
Yeah, I liked Wanted movie. I don't know why.
That movie's great.
It's that Russian director, right? Can't remember his name.
You're probably right. But I did really love that movie.
I love that. I love the part where they fucking hit the keyboard across the fucking his boss's face or his best friend's face.
Best friend's face, yeah.
And it says "fuck you" as the keys. But I fucking
that
love
movie's
that.
Fucking genius.
It's great. Like there's some bad parts in it, but it's great.
There's bad parts.
I wish they would have made a
movie.
sequel. It should have got one.
I completely agree to that. Last but not least, who I'm going to mention as a character in this is Alexander Siddig.
Siddig? I don't know. Sounds about right.
Who plays Hatcher. He is probably most known for his role in Game of Thrones, and he's also in the movies Reign of Fire, and he is in the Gotham TV series.
Is that Matthew McConaughey / Woody Harrelson movie?
Reign of Fire?
Yeah. Is that the one with the dragon in the future? Yeah. I saw that in the theater, by the way.
That movie's interesting.
It's bad.
It's pretty bad.
I bought it
but
and then I
wasn't
sold
that
it because I
terrible.
was like, fuck that. I might even have it.
Probably do.
Look for Reign of
I'm
Horror.
pretty sure
Reign of
I
Terror.
have fucking Reign of Fire, too.
I bought it. I know I did, but I might have traded it in.
Obviously, there's a lot of really great people that are in this movie. Sean Pertwee is actually in it, too.
Yeah.
Who we mentioned pretty in depth when we did our
Event Horizon.
What in the Sam Neill Event Horizon. There's a lot of actors in it that are
just to
pretty
point
well
something
known.
out. Sean Pertwee is the guy that always gets hurt in movies.
He always gets fucked up
somehow. Like he either dies or gets hurt in every movie that he's been in.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He always gets dealt such a fucking dirty hand.
And he's such a
every
great
time.
actor. I love him.
He is. Well, and that's why I love to watch him in Gotham, because in Gotham
Right.
he's
A
a main
kick-ass.
character
Yeah.
essentially, and he's a fucking badass.
Right.
So it's really, really cool to watch him because he is such a well-rounded actor,
Right.
and he's very studious and very, very, very he's just so skilled. He's so talented.
Right.
So being able to watch him finally play a character that gets to last more than 30 minutes in total airtime is
Yeah, he
really
still
fucking cool.
gets fucked up.
He still gets fucked up, but I mean, and actually one of the people that fucks him up was David O'Hara,
Right.
who played one of his friends in Gotham,
Right.
who actually ends up fucking him up. And it was interesting.
See, I haven't
to
watched
watch
all
that
of
tie.
Gotham, so I don't know all that.
I'm not up to date as of the most current season, but
It's one of those shows that, like, if I got nothing else to watch, I'll
it's so
probably
good.
watch
And it got real fucking dark. Another thing that I wanted to mention, we picked movies that coincidentally enough had really great music scores.
Right.
And soundtracks. The music was done by Tyler Bates, who is very, very well known in the horror community because he's done music for the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
He did The Devil's Rejects. He did Slither, See No Evil. He did the Halloween remake. He did the 300 movies.
Yeah, he's a pretty hip producer.
He is, and he did, I mean, just to name a few more, he did Watchmen. He did Sucker Punch. And he
Redid
just,
the Halloween the theme, too, which was actually not bad. I
It's
thought it was a good one.
fantastic. Yeah, and he did the most recent, one of the most recent movies that he did was the Atomic Blonde. For those of you who are, just big music fans in general, if you're a big Marilyn Manson fan, he's been the lead guitarist for Marilyn Manson for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the producer and co-writer for his most recent Pale Emperor album. And he's working on the new Heaven Upside Down.
How much you want to bet Tyler Bates is the reason he got into Marilyn Manson got into fucking scoring music?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and then that's how they he was like, hey, you should tour with me, man.
Absolutely, and it's a big part of it. And then the TV show Salem.
Yeah.
The opening credit song is off of Pale Emperor.
Right.
So it's
and they use it. And
he's in it.
I don't know if it's Pale Emperor, but Marilyn Manson. They used his song from one of the albums, one of the more recent ones, for John Wick. I believe it's the first one.
You're right, because he did John Wick and John Wick 2.
Right.
So, which I haven't seen the second, but I did see the first one and I actually really liked
shit.
it. I liked it way better than I thought I was going to. Tell me your opinions, because I love this movie. It's one of my favorites. So, roles are reversed here.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I like to do that, because it's like, we intro it all and then, we tell our opinions. But this movie in particular kind of reminds me of Escape from New York, Warriors, Resident Evil, and Mad Max, all in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like the new Mad Max.
It's
or
Scottish
one of the
Mad
old
Max.
ones. Maybe even one of the old ones, too. It's kind of a weird movie to me, but Neil Marshall, right?
Right.
So it's like, can you hate him? You don't hate the movie. It's just weird to me. First of all, I get a Land of the Dead sort of acting vibe from it, which is good and bad. Like, it's a little more bigger budget, stale in some of the performances. A lot of toss-away characters in this one. I'm not trying to put the movie down. I'm just saying that the characters I just didn't give a fuck about dying.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, if someone else, like, most of them, there's a couple that I really love, and I think they're really strong characters, but as a whole, this movie suffers, to me, from some bad character shitty roles.
Yeah, and this is night and day difference between Miracle Mile and Doomsday.
Right.
Miracle Mile excelled at being able to sell you on characters,
Each character.
and have you relate to each character, and
Right.
you build a rapport with each character in a brief amount of time. Whereas Doomsday doesn't.
You had a
do
lot
that,
of
but
time
they
with these characters.
They start killing people off right away.
It's true. I'm just saying, like, if someone died, I would be like, oh, who was that?
Yeah, and I kind of feel like a little bit like that was the point.
Sure. No. Don't
In a
get me
way.
wrong. The whole cannibal bit is kind of big to me. I like that in a way. While it's kind of incredibly cool at sometimes, like I like the aspect of it, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They passed about 200 cows on the way in, so I didn't like that aspect of it. It kind of didn't make sense, but I liked it for the subject matter. I thought it was interesting. It just didn't. They didn't build it to that point. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, maybe the movie was like 4 hours long and they trimmed it down to an hour and 40 minutes or some shit. You know what I mean?
It just didn't jive.
It just didn't fit. Like, it didn't make sense to me on that aspect. I did love the gore in this movie. It had some genuinely fun moments with the gore and, like, kill scenes and shit like that I was cheering for and kind of, like, got excited about and started masturbating. Shamefully in front of my preacher.
Shamefully.
I just stared him right in the eye.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna confess a whole lot of dick.
I'm sorry, guys. It's not horrible. I do like it. I own it. I bought it for a reason. But it feels like, and I'm not trying to put it down from borrowing from other movies, it just didn't surpass those other movies in the aspects that it tried to borrow from. It really almost felt like a cheap mimic of those things. But I liked those things that it was mimicking from, so I didn't mind it so much. So it kind of hits a little bit more of the middle of the road, maybe a little above average to me. I still like it, and I like a lot of the scenes in it, like, that were really cool. There were some dry spells. I didn't like the whole fucking Malcolm McDowell bit.
I didn't either.
I thought that was like the biggest shit pile in the whole fucking thing. They should have just fucking had a moment where they had a conversation, and that was it, because it didn't need to be there.
I completely 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
That was where I was lost. It was a complete disconnect for me, because why did we suddenly go back to medieval times?
It's a cool idea. It's
Right.
like, it's nice to see that world, but did we really need to be steeped in it?
No.
Like, did world 30 years really take us back to medieval times?
Why are we back to fucking bow and arrows?
I get it. Like, there's always going to be some person that stands up and, like, organizes shit. And,
Right.
like, that's bound to happen. And there's some sort of weird... Like, in Walking Dead. They do it in The Walking Dead, even.
Yeah, but I don't know. And that whole scene, like, they could do without it. Like,
Sorry,
why
Malcolm
did they not
McDowell
make
didn't play that part
He didn't
well.
sell it well enough. And
I don't
that
know if he was made for that part. I don't think it was.
I agree. I don't think he was. And I still feel like that was completely unnecessary. I feel like it would have worked if they would have brought it into a more current fucking time zone to be that. But to take it back to medieval times and to get very Game of Thrones-ish, like...
Right.
What the fuck was that? Like, this whole gladiator-esque fighting ring between her and this giant knight, which are totally different fucking eras, basically, that they're trying to portray here, and it makes no fucking sense.
What I think this movie suffers from is it's interesting and fun enough to watch and own for me, but it's also suffers from trying to be a big budget movie while trying to maintain a low budget idea.
Right.
So it has unique ideas in it, but also borrows from everything, and it's so convoluted in itself with these two things, these two concepts, that it somehow gets lost in the mix somehow.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't find its own identity. That's the only problem I have with it.
I agree. Like, it's a very cool idea.
Sure.
On paper. Like, especially when you look at how they are trying to portray this virus and finding, like, the cure. But, like, as much as I love this movie, there are so many fucking plot holes and issues with it. Like,
but
there's so many problems.
In the same respect, not to put this movie down, I like Escape from New York. I like The Warriors. I like fucking some of the old Mad Max movies and stuff like that. But there are times in those movies that I'm like even Escape from New York and Warriors in general. Like, there's cool ideas in there, but it's like schlocky kind of like... I still love them, don't get me wrong.
It's kind of like slapped together with some like fucking glue and duct tape.
It's almost like it's too big of an idea for itself.
Right.
But again, like, I don't know, like, even lower budget movies have done better than this one.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. Like, I like watching those old weird sci-fi futuristic future dystopian world things. Like, I love those kind of movies. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. But anyway, what do you think?
It's still one of my favorite movies. I don't care.
You don't care what I say, Brittany?
I don't care what your opinion is. But it just is. And there's just so many fucking inaccuracies in this movie. Just like geographic inaccuracies and just stupid fucking goofs that they make.
Yeah, it's hard to suspend your disbelief.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's hard to have the disconnection there. Like, to disconnect your brain and kind of, like, go along with the fact that this can happen.
Right.
And believe what you're watching and kind of go along for the ride and have fun with it.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to have that disconnection there and make that separation between reality and fiction. But it's fucking fun. Like, it's really fun to watch it. Just at least if you want to watch it for the part, like, if you didn't like this movie at all, like, go back and watch it just to fucking find all the little stupid fucking fuck ups.
Yeah.
That are there, because that's kind of what I did when I rewatched. Because I've seen this movie so many times, and like when I rewatched it last night just to rewatch it. My husband had never seen it, and first of all, I'm like, "Oh, the fuck, have you never seen this movie?" Like,
right?
What the fuck, like. I
can show you the...
I'm like, we love Mad Max. We love anything Wasteland related. Like, any of those fucking movies, shows, anything possible. Like,
that's
we love
the subculture
that shit,
we belong to.
And, like,
in a lot
our
of ways.
friends go to Wasteland every year, and they make all these intricate costumes and cars and all this shit to be part of it.
Right.
So when I go back watching this, I'm like, it's fucking Wasteland Weekend. Is this where they filmed? Is that Wasteland Weekend? Like, if they would have known, they could have just filmed there and saved a whole bunch of money, and it would have been perfect, because the costuming and makeup would have been a million times better than the shit that they came up with for this movie. Some of it's really, really cool and really well done. Others, meh. Just looks like some fucking emo kids going to a house party. So it's just kind of like, okay, what? But there's still so many cool scenes, and it's such a fucking ripoff of like Mad Max, but like I call it Scottish Mad Max.
Especially the
end. It's the end, the chase scene.
Yeah, that's totally homage.
Oh, hardcore, but it's still fucking cool. Especially like with the gimp and everything. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that.
Come the fuck on.
Well,
like,
he grew up with that shit, so
absolutely, and
you can tell.
It's still fun. It's still a fun fucking ride movie.
Well, and Neil Marshall's going to be doing the new Hellboy reboot, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That Ron Perlman
didn't forget to mention
nothing
that.
to do with.
Well, he wasn't invited to have an opinion. He doesn't care. He's just
he
like,
made the whole comment about it, and he's like, someone asked him, and he's like, what did he say when hell freezes over?
yeah, when Hellboy freezes
when
over.
Hellboy freezes over, and I'm like, God damn it, Ron Perlman. I love you, but I hate you right now. I want him to be part of it. Like, how could he not even be considered?
Right.
He's so good. I love the Hellboy franchise, by the way. It's so fantastic.
It's got its flaws, but I still love it.
I don't even care.
I still think it deserved a trilogy.
So good. Like,
It's sad that it didn't get one.
Characters and the
I mean, the first one is probably the best, but I don't want to get. We shouldn't get into that.
my fucking boner for Guillermo del Toro was out of this world. But anyway,
I don't think he's perfect. I like his
don't
style
care
in some
what-
aspects,
I don't
but
care what you
Hellboy, the first one, was bonerific.
oh yeah, no, I love the first one.
I even like Blade 2 because of him. So because of the
Anyway.
characters. Anyway,
Don't knock shit on fucking Guillermo del Toro, by the way.
not at all.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were saying that, and I was like, I'm about to punch you
No,
in the
no,
dick.
no. I'm just not as big a fan as everybody else
bah.
is. I love him. I just don't love.
Nah, his
everything
characters
that he
are just
does.
Fantastic. But anyways, so as we go back to discussing Doomsday,
Which movie? I forgot about it.
shut up. I mean, should we talk about some of the really fun goofs that they have in this? 'Cause
I mean, if you want, yeah, sure,
feel
point
like,
some out.
I feel like we should, because there's some fun
There's
ones
some
here.
decent trivia
There's
about
some
this
fun
too.
ones. There's pretty good trivia, but let's talk about some fucking stupid errors that they have first.
Well, let me point out the one that I talked about.
Yeah,
When the girls, like, they basically, guys, to give you an idea about this movie, there was a disease that happened. They surrounded the entire fucking UK with a fucking wall. They keep everybody out who's infected, and they start killing innocent people because they don't want the infection to spread. It's kind of one of those moral decisions, like, should we kill these people for the sake of all of mankind or try to be nice people? And so they close off all these people. 30 years later, they realize that there's people that are alive in this fucking area that they have abandoned and forgotten about. The virus is still coming back now all of a sudden. Like, people are getting sick again, and so they don't know what to do. So they seek to find these people inside this compound that they've closed off to walls to try to find a cure. Because these, naturally, anybody with a virus would have a cure at some point. Like, somebody would be immune, and they would have to figure out how they're immune to this disease and why. Continue on. That's one of the goofs in there too.
well, that and literally any virologist
Right.
would have figured that shit out
Absolutely.
within seconds.
like-
would have been like, obviously, there's going to be a natural immunity.
Yeah, you got like 98% of people would be
Right.
not immune, but there would be that 2% that would be.
Yeah,
Take that, Doomsday,
motherfuckers.
you piece of shit. I'm just kidding.
So they have there's a couple parts when they first encounter the punks in the, I don't know, it's necessarily like a hospital or whatever it is, but it's like all the bodies and whatever that they have lined up. I guess it's like a morgue,
Right.
but they kill the same ones
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
over and over and over.
It was the same
again.
guy. There was a guy with the purple mohawk. I kept seeing him pop up.
They kill the same people so many times. And then the same, like, there's a character that has, like, a cat ear helmet that they kill a million fucking times over and over again throughout the film.
And it's like they didn't even switch it up. It's
They didn't
like
even
they didn't even
try.
switch sides. They were just like, let's show the same clip 4 or 5 times.
Feels like they didn't even try to cover that up.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of the most obvious issues with continuity in this film were any fucking scene involving the goddamn Bentley.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy fuck. Like, when they go through, like, when the doors are closing and they drive through those fucking doors, the car obviously scrapes both sides on the fucking doors as it comes out. But as soon as it turns the corner, as it clears out the doors that are shutting, there's no fucking damage at all to this vehicle. You're like, it very clearly scraped along the sides. What?
Well, you know there's a funny story about that, right? The Bentley.
Oh yeah, I have that
Okay.
information too. Of, like,
Should we divulge that now?
I feel like, yeah, they purchased, what, 3?
Yeah, and only
them?
one of them got thrown into a gulch.
They drove it into a fucking ditch on accident.
Yeah, but the other ones, they said that aside from some like minor scrapes and scuffs and stuff. They only had one major thing that they had to fix on these things. The bodies of the cars that they were slamming into of the Bentley surprisingly held up very well.
It was just cosmetic damage.
So this podcast has been brought to you by Bentley. Get a really expensive $30,000 car.
Ding. I'm pretty sure it's more than $30,000.
Well, that's what they were saying.
Toyota.
Yeah, they were saying it was like $30,000.
They paid $150,000, I think, for all three.
Oh, is that what it was?
That they bought off the lot or off some dealership or whatever. But I'm pretty sure it was they paid $150,000 outright for the three of them. But they were able to just fix the body damage for one or two. But the engine and everything else was like fully intact and it was fine. But there's also, like, when the Bentley crashes through the bus, there's no fucking damage to the front end of the Bentley.
Oh, yeah.
At all. Period. Like, it's clean.
Yeah, that thing's
and
a trooper,
nothing happens.
But it shows that the Bentley actually does hold up.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have to change anything. There wasn't no movie magic, though,
but
with
I
that.
mean, I don't know. There's some scratches and shit that I feel like they could have done. So, there's a scene where Saul's character gets decapitated and his head comes like fucking darting towards the screen and he's like screaming, which is completely impossible
without lungs
because there's no lungs. Like, come on. Like, I know they did that. Like, I know why they did that and the purpose behind it, but I'm just like, ugh.
It just has more of an impact.
It does, but it was just so stupid and unnecessary.
It is stupid.
And then the last and final issue that I had was then when that crazy infected guy comes breaking into like the tower where all the government officials are and shit.
Oh yeah,
which was dope, by the way. Like, the whole scene was really fucking cool. But he like has to use like the hand fingerprint scanner and then like the retina scanner or whatever from the guard in order to get up into the elevator.
Right.
When he chops the guard's hand off and he goes to put the hand on the scanner, the fingers are all curled up on the hand.
Oh, yeah. Because it's a fake hand.
The fingers are fucking curled up on the hand, but when it comes back and shows the full scan, it's a flat palm.
Just little things.
And I'm like, how the fuck would that even read? And first of all, why wouldn't he just push it to where it's flat?
See, that's the logistics I would think about if I was making a movie, but there's so many hands in the pot, it's like...
But whose fucking job was that to, like, go over that part? Because they failed.
Whoever shot the first part, yeah.
There's a lot of shit that, like, a lot of little continuity things like that in particular that were just fucking stupid.
See, that's what bugs me about the movie is, like, it's enjoyable if you don't look at it in a reality spectrum, like, of any sort. It's fun if you're just looking for, like, fun and mayhem.
Right, which that's why I watch it. I like fun and mayhem, and I like the punks, and I love their aesthetic.
Right.
And I love Saul's character. Like, Saul's character is such a fucking badass, and you can't fucking beat them playing.
His character is cool, man.
His character is fucking sick, and so
best character he's ever played.
Tattoo face chick or whatever. She's a fucking badass too.
Yeah, but she never did anything after.
No, like, she hasn't done pretty much
She looked like someone we know.
She does.
I don't know. She just looks like someone I know.
Yeah, she's very familiar. I don't know. I liked her. She was cool. But it was just fun. It's still a fucking fun movie. Like, I don't even care.
Did you have some favorite scenes, or should we go? Should I do mine first? I only have a couple.
Yeah, you can do yours
They're
first.
short.
Of course they are.
There was a little girl in the very beginning that got shot in the eye, like when they're like shooting at the civilians. Yeah, the main character.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But I'm just saying, when the little girl gets shot in the eye in the very beginning, it's kind of freaky. They kind of weirded me out. I was like, ooh, and her face, she was like, ah, like, you know, I was just thinking of child acting at that point in time. Like, how do you make this look real? And I was like, that looks kind of dark.
It looked good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was like CGI or whatever the fuck it was. There was another scene where the grenade in the tank.
Oh, yeah.
To the girl who kills the guy driving. That was really fucking cool.
That scene was really cool.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
fuck that bitch.
Yeah, that was fucking badass. Where she's like sitting in the back, and he hits her after she cuts his throat, and then he just, as he's dying, drops a grenade towards her, and it rolls towards her crotch, and then she just looks at it like, oh, fuck. Boom! The back of the fucking door goes blowing out. That was badass.
It was cool.
What about you?
Super, super cool. I thought you had 3.
I have more than 3. They're just really short ones.
Oh, well, okay, well, then I'm going to interject and say one of
Please
mine.
do, yeah.
I love when they fucking cook the guy, the
Pertwee?
one soldier.
Pertwee.
Is that Sean Pertwee's character?
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucking right.
Yeah, it's Pertwee. How do you like your Pertwee anyway?
I like my Pertwee medium rare.
Me too. I like a little flesh. Pertwee tastes good, though.
Yeah.
That's some of the best meat.
Pertwee is grade A.
Yeah. And not only is it grade A acting, it's grade A beef.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's so good. But I mean, you can't get much more badass than playing Spellbound by Susie and the Banshees.
Yeah, I know,
the guy's
right?
cooking on the fucking steak, essentially.
They have quite a few bands.
The soundtrack for this movie is great. Like, not even just all the music production that was done for it on its own, but the soundtrack for this movie is very well thought out.
It's kind of old. It's like 80s
It
and
is older,
90s.
but it works, and
Yeah.
it works really well, and it everything about it fits for each part. The music is just phenomenal for this movie,
Right.
in general. The whole soundtrack, where you get even any little bit and piece like of the chase scene where the noises are like separated out, or anything it's done so great, and that's all from Tyler Bates, courtesy.
Oh, he picked the soundtrack as well?
No, I'm pretty sure he did, but he did all of the music scoring and
Yeah,
everything for it.
yeah.
So
Oh,
like
yeah.
any like from
I was talking about
stupid
like
shit.
they had like a band in there, Dog Eat Dog, which I used to have an album by them, which was Warrant. That was the name of their album. And Warrant, the band, had an album called Dog Eat Dog,
Yeah.
which I always thought was like really crazy. So if any of you know what the fuck I'm talking about right now, you need to sound off in the comments.
Yeah, this movie is actually really it's used a lot in industrial music. Industrial bands actually use this movie quite a bit for clips.
Right. Oh, in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to sample.
Makes
it's used for
sense.
samples quite a bit, because there's a lot of good moments that can be used for sampling, and it's mostly anything with Saul talking.
Who was it? Who was it? You that was saying like, who's gonna sample the Void next?
Yeah, it was me.
Was that you? Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna do it. I was
Do it. I'm like, I'm waiting.
But I don't even know if I'm industrial anymore. But anyway.
I'm a lady in wait right now, because I'm like, what band do I like? What band do I like?
Well, it won't be us then.
I like. Fuck off. Fuck off, Alex. But yeah, anyway, I love that. I love that scene.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up. Poor Sean Pertwee.
It is kind of good. I like my Pertwee
But it's
medium
cool.
rare.
I mean, I can't. Like I said, fucking Spellbound's one of my favorite songs ever. And then like that whole scene, and it seems like it shouldn't work, but it fucking does. And
Right.
It's so cool.
You know what another really good scene is? When the tribal tattoo chick gets her head cut off.
Yeah.
And the chick behind her grabs her head,
She's
and it's like
holding her hair.
blinking and shit. Like that, I always think it's cool when they take the time to put in like the blinks. Even though it looks kind of like fucked up, it just adds that extra kick in the fucking dick.
Right.
Like, I don't know, just to me, I love the blinks. Like, I think it's funny.
It's cool, and it's realistic.
That's realistic, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely realistic. Unlike the screaming head that's been severed from the body, which is not realistic at all.
Right.
But the subtle blinks and the mouth movements, or even like the flaring nostril shit, that happens because all these synapses are still firing, and your brain controls everything in your body.
Right. Well, the oxygen gets cut off, you just go crazy, but
Yeah, it's cool. Like, and I love when they do that. I hate when they don't do shit like that, because that's not realistic to me. But when they incorporate little things like that, it makes it more real. But that scene, this movie is not short on gore at all, in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's actually got some pretty cool stuff. Like,
It has a lot of really great
some of my
scenes.
favorite scenes are probably towards the end of the movie, even though I think it's the cheapest grab for fucking
The chase scene.
material is the whole fucking Mad Max wannabe chase scene.
But it's cool.
But there's like a scene where like the guy gets run over. Like that shit was badass.
That
I was
shit
like,
was
fuck yeah.
badass.
You just like see splat.
So,
like,
you see
blah.
his head bounce off the inside of the fucking like barrier thing that they have at the back of
Oh,
the car.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the fuck that is. It's like a
That's
sheet
the-
of metal that hangs over the down below the bumper.
Yeah.
And like you see, if they ran him over, and you see on the inside, you can see his head bounce off from under that, and the blood go out from underneath.
Right, it's badass.
So cool.
Yeah.
Little fucking subtle details like that were just sick. And
Yeah.
I love when they fucking crash the gimp into the wall. You like pain? His stupid tongue is like, I'm like, oh, it's just so dumb. The Gimp is so stupid and makes no sense, but at the same time, he was still funny. It's kind of like the fucking guitar Gimp in fucking Mad Max. Like,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, this movie has heavy nods to all the material we've been talking about.
Yeah.
But and that's in a way, I'm not trying to curse it for that, because a lot of people like to do that. I'm not trying to curse it for it. There's a way to do it right and there's a way to do it wrong, and I feel like this movie traipses that line very close.
Oh, it's right in the middle.
Yeah, it's like we know you're borrowing, dude. Who do you fucking think you're trying to trick?
Yeah, it's absolutely right.
If you're gonna do it right. But no one's gonna ever beat Mad Max chase scenes, because the guy who fucking did it is a fucking genius.
Yeah.
The guy that made the car fucking quit. He quit. He quit doing the car stunts and shit like that, like, or orchestrating it.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where Mad Max is going to be after that, for this next movie they're going to do.
Speaking of stunts, out of all of the crazy fucking stunt work that they have in this movie, there was only 2 situations where shit went wrong. And
oh, that's right. Yeah, I heard about this.
The first was one of the stuntmen riding the motorcycles. When he went to jump off, he's supposed to jump off to like a clearance area.
Right.
And instead he missed the mark, and so he ends up getting dragged behind the motorcycle.
Bike. Yeah.
And he wasn't hurt miraculously, but I mean, they have a lot of shit on.
Yeah.
Like,
to protect him, yeah.
Yeah, and so thankfully he wasn't hurt, and then the other one was, which was, this is gonna be partly one of my favorite scenes of all, like, in the movie too. When after the train takes off from the station and all the punks are there and Saul's like right in the front, and he just barely misses like grabbing onto Eden's character, and then he just like bends over and just like fucking screams, and he's fucking frustrated and pissed, but then he just like stops and stands up and then fucking punches this dude on his
oh, that's right.
It's so fucking funny.
He actually really hit him.
He hit him, and they did the take a couple of times, and on the second take,
he broke his nose.
He broke his fucking nose. The poor actor. He breaks his fucking nose on the second take. And I don't know if he just missed his marking of where he was supposed to hit him or what happened, but like, yeah, he shattered the dude's fucking nose. But that scene,
I mean, that's pretty normal.
It's fucking hilarious.
That's pretty good for a movie that's pretty high action.
Very high action, very high stunt like oriented film. And there are only those 2 instances. And I mean, the guy obviously broke his nose, he got hurt, but the stuntman wasn't injured at all, who was dragged behind the bike.
Well, now here's the big question, Brittany. What do you think is the better movie of the 2?
Oh, well, Doomsday is my favorite. So out of the 2, I'm sorry.
It's so much better, Miracle Mile.
Miracle Mile is so much better as far as
everything,
story and the story and the plot,
like anything
and the idea
that matters.
Or whatever. Shut up. Like, behind it is cool. The character development is a lot cooler and
super
it's
original.
Done way better. It's super original, whatever. But I did not have as much fun watching this movie as I ever had watching Doomsday.
Man. I don't know. My mouth salivates when I watch
Doomsday
that
to me is fun from start to finish.
What do you guys think? Have you seen both of these movies?
I'm
do
sure
you like both of these movies? Do you hate one of them? Do you love one of the others? Like what?
I'm sure they're probably going to side more with you on this. I don't know.
No.
We'll see.
Why would you think that?
We'll see, though, because I think there's a lot of people who really like Doomsday.
First of all, I hope you guys would never lie like that for anybody here. And I'm not saying that you would for me or her, but don't ever do that. If you guys feel like you didn't like something, I want to know. I want to fucking know. And you better have a fucking good answer, because I'll fucking kill you. No.
Jesus. As he holds his Sutter home Merlot.
Yeah, you better back off, bitch.
He's so mad.
I got fucking red wine, you fuck.
Fuck.
Anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much a wrap for us on the Doomsday on Miracle Mile. So that'll be it for this week. This whole week was a pretty good week. If you guys haven't already, please do. If you're done with this episode, you want to check out the first one, you haven't heard it yet, please do. It's a lot of fun. Check that out. And we got some more pretty great shit planned for you in the future. And one last thing I want to mention. I'll mention this next week too. We are going to be doing an October giveaway. And Christina is trying to put together a box right now. We're going to try to put on all kinds of stuff. We'll probably have like an Amazon gift card, some DVDs, some Blu-rays, things like that we'll throw in there to give to you guys for Halloween. We'll probably pull the name by the second week of October, so you'll have it before Halloween, hopefully, because we'll try to get it out to you within 5 days. But you're a horror fan, so you're going to enjoy it anyway. So please sign up for our BTV VIP club now. You can go to longlivethevoid.com, sign up for it under the BTV VIP club section, or at the bottom of the page, you'll find it. It's pretty simple. Or you can go to our Facebook, and it's on the blue link there, but blah, blah, blah.
It's fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it.
It's a big box giveaway, and we try to put some heart and love into it. Christina paints it up.
It's going to be so cool, you guys. We're going to have so much cool shit in there.
We don't do too many giveaways, but we've done, like, I think 3 or 4 since we started, and that's pretty much one quarterly for the most part. Also, if you guys haven't already, we did post this on our social media, but we had DJ 5era did a horror shot for us. She did the lichen choke, and it was super awesome, so make sure you check that out and give her fucking love for fucking going the extra mile. We're going to send her out some free shit. We're already putting that together, and we probably already sent it out to her by now, by the time you guys hear this. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll have a brand new fucking week for you next week, so stick around.
Stay weird, monsters.